Village Chief Hong, exhausted and defeated, confessed to Bam the cruel truth. From the very beginning, the Pale Sire had always targeted Tam, his beloved eldest daughter, whom he had shielded fiercely, but because of the family's relentless protection, the demon had never gotten close. Instead, Cam, the neglected, unloved daughter, had merely been a pawn in this merciless game. Now, the next target was surely Tam. Bam didn't want to accept it, but deep down, he realized he had been nothing more than a puppet, trapped in a savage scheme he never truly understood. Then came the shocking death of Mr. Su, the man responsible for selecting sacrificial youths. His body was found mutilated, his face skinned and grotesquely disfigured. Bam witnessed the scene with his own eyes and staggered back in horror. All signs pointed to one perpetrator, Cam, or rather, the version of her now possessed by the Pale Sire. She had killed with savage glee, turning torture into a perverse form of amusement. In the palace, the Crown Prince remained haunted by memories of the past, of saving a group from a gang of violent bandits. Driven by a yearning to find the girl he once rescued, he announced a grand event, inviting all women in the region, even the married, to try on a single shoe left behind. Despite protests from Village Chief Hong, Cam's mother and Tam pleaded for her to be included. After all, she was still a maiden, but Hong refused. In his eyes, a girl like Cam, without title or status, wasn't worthy. Frustrated, his wife joined in, punishing Cam even more harshly. In the familiar scene of separating rice from husk, Tam couldn't bear to leave her sister alone, and chose to stay and help. But what she saw shocked her to the core. Cam, eyes vacant, stuffing handfuls of raw rice into her mouth. Terrified, Tam stumbled backward. Without a word, Cam left alone, her twisted face pale as a lost soul's. She didn't go to try on the shoe. She went to the temple, not to belong, but to remove her mask in front of everyone. The prince, the villagers, and her own father, a silent, agonizing revenge. Tam arrived too late. She tried to comfort her sister, but the Crown Prince had already recognized Tam as the girl he'd been searching for all these years. Their eyes locked, an uncanny connection, as though fate had written it long ago. But just as the air turned tender, Cam stepped forward, toward the same woman who had mocked her earlier. With a single, razor-sharp motion, she ended the woman's life in agonizing pain. The villager's daughter collapsed, her face pale, her life drained in seconds. Cam returned to the well, blood still dripping from her hands. When Tam found her there, Cam gently warned her not to wander alone. The tigers and leopards are hunting, she said. No one knew the real predator was Cam. The wedding day drew near. Tam was to leave the village for the palace, finally escaping her cursed life. Village Chief Hong handed her the sacred talisman, his most precious dowry gift. Her mother would accompany her to care for her in the royal court. It was Tam's chance at freedom. But for those left behind, the nightmare had just begun. Each night, villagers died mysteriously. Corpses littered the village. Cam, soaked in blood, hair disheveled, eyes wild like a beast, haunted the darkness. Bam. The traitor now understood true fear. He dropped to his knees, begging Cam for mercy. But it was far too late. The lotus rice cake, once a symbol of love, had become a grotesque offering, soaked in blood, crawling with maggots. Cam skinned Bam's face and wore it as a new mask, a final rebirth of a soul too deeply wounded to heal. Village Chief Hong, the man who had failed as a father, now bore witness to the full collapse of everything he once controlled. His village, his bloodline, and his honor, devoured by the curse he unleashed. Baba. The woman who had lost both daughters finally uncovered the truth, but it was far too late to stop anything. Torrential rain fell, unable to wash away the blood. When the truth came to light, Cam, now perfected and all-powerful, became the final terror Village Chief Hong had to face. And that's when he realized the full weight of what he had done. His final choice was to end it all, right there, in what was once considered the prestigious Hall of Honor of his family, a meaningless, belated act of repentance. The once peaceful village was no more, now left with nothing but curses, cries of grief, and the lurking presence of a demon in every shadow. Upon hearing of the tragedy in the village, Village Chief Hong's wife rushed to the scene with a troop of guards. But when she arrived, she was stunned into silence. Standing before her was Cam, flawless, with porcelain skin and a chilling stare. Yet a mother's instinct told her this was no longer the daughter she had raised. Confronted with her desperate questioning, the Pale Sire, hiding within Cam's body, finally revealed the horrifying truth. Cam had died long ago. What stood before her was merely her daughter's shell, her soul overtaken, used as a vessel to fulfill wicked schemes. Under the demon's control, Cam had lost all will of her own. Her mother's hands could no longer reach her heart. Powerless, the woman collapsed, stuffing handfuls of rice into her mouth like a broken soul, driven mad with grief. At the same time, Tam, the sister who had always loved Cam, heard the full truth from Baba. Cam's outward perfection was a cruel illusion. Her soul had been drowned in darkness. She had grown cold, ruthless, even swallowing the glass fish Tam once raised with love. During the funeral of village chief Hong, Cam did not shed a single tear. Instead, she cut down the beetle tree while Tam was climbing it, causing her to fall. The final blow came when Cam attacked Baba right in front of Tam. Thankfully, Tam managed to block the stab with her protective talisman, saving Baba at the last second. Watching all of this unfold, Tam was devastated. She realized that evil, once awakened, could not be forgiven, and if their ancestors had caused the curse, then the present generation had to be the one to end it. She ordered the protection of Baba and her stepmother, then set off alone into the forest, toward the altar of the Pale Sire, the source of all the horror. There she placed her hand on the demon's stone statue, feeling the pain and lingering hatred that filled the air. Suddenly, from the dark waters behind her, a figure emerged. It was Cam, or more accurately, the Pale Sire in Cam's form. Baba followed, holding a sharp weapon, ready to strike the demon down. But she was too late. She was seized and swiftly, bewitched, turned against Tam, the very girl she once vowed to protect. Evil erased all her motherly love and replaced it with a single command: kill Tam. A brutal chase began. Baba, now a puppet of darkness, lunged with her blade, stabbing Tam repeatedly in the abdomen. The talisman flared, shielding her from death, but not in time to save Baba, who collapsed lifelessly after the final blow. Tam looked on in agony, at Baba's body beneath her feet, herself gravely wounded. The talisman had weakened. The Pale Sire wasted no time, launching forward and tightening its grip around Tam's throat. But Tam resisted. With the last of her strength, she pushed the demon away. They grappled fiercely in the center of the sacrificial altar. From the black waters, pale hands rose, ghostly limbs of those once offered as sacrifices. They watched silently, their pain, unspoken, bearing witness to the final struggle between Tam and the demon. Blood stained the altar. Both combatants were wounded. In the end, Tam and Cam both vanished. Only one pale, barely breathing body remained. But whose was it? When the crown prince arrived, he rushed the girl back to the palace. He believed the nightmare was over, but then, he saw it in her eyes. It wasn't Tam. Tam was gone. The girl he had rescued, the one in Tam's body, was actually Cam, and behind her eyes was the Pale Sire. At the last possible moment, the demon had switched the sisters' souls, fulfilling its twisted dream of immortality. Both Tam and Cam were lost. All that remained was the Pale Sire, reborn in the beautiful vessel it had long desired. But no matter whose face it wore, it would always be a demon, and evil, no matter how powerful, will always fall. With the final flicker of strength from Tam's talisman, the Crown Prince destroyed the Pale Sire once and for all. Tam's spirit was freed, the curse was broken. The small village, once shrouded in darkness, was no longer haunted, and at Tam's resting place, something miraculous happened. From the soil, a young green shoot began to rise, as if her final wish, for peace and rebirth, had finally come true. After all the tragedy and betrayal, The Sisters 2024 closes with a spine-chilling twist, where the line between human and demon is completely erased, and one haunting question still lingers: who is truly still alive? Was Cam merely a victim, or the embodiment of evil? Has Tam truly found peace, or is her soul still trapped in the vicious cycle of the curse? The soul swap between Tam and Cam doesn't just shock the audience. It delivers a grim message. When hatred is allowed to fester too long, it consumes even the purest hearts. In the end, though the Pale Sire is defeated, the consequences are irreversible. Tam is gone, Cam is gone. What remains is a borrowed body, and a village forever scarred by darkness. Yet from those ashes, a golden apple tree rises. Is it a symbol of hope or the beginning of yet another cursed cycle? The Sisters 2024 isn't just a dark fairy tale retelling. It's a lament for a forgotten Salland, a chilling warning about selfishness, greed, and the wrong choices that can turn a wounded girl into a monster. And that was The Sisters 2024. A twisted retelling where fairy tale meets nightmare, and where no soul leaves unscarred. If that final twist left you as breathless as us, then don't forget to hit that like button. Which side do you think survived? Cam's soul, or the demon's curse? Let us know your theories in the comments. And if you crave more dark tales, disturbing endings, and movie breakdowns like this, subscribe to Cine Batizo. You never miss the next haunting story. Until then, sleep tight. And remember, some curses don't end when the credits roll.